So Lele Pons apparently wrote a book. Did you hear about that? Tom Harlock recently made a video on it and it got me thinking, you know. I can't read, so there's that video idea out of the picture. But there is one thing I can do. It's something that I happen to have spent 11 years of my life attempting to master. Whether or not I did actually master it will inevitably be the topic of conversation in this video's comment section. As today, my dear viewers, I will be flexing my tongue, rolling a few R's if you will. People that know me well will be fully aware by now that I never shut up about the fact that I'm trilingual. Some of you may be surprised to know that I speak both Spanish and Portuguese. Contrary to popular belief, when you graduate from uni in Spanish, you don't immediately spawn an obnoxious moustache. You don't even get gifted a fresh new sombrero. Not that I know, I didn't go to my graduation. I did, however, spend 11 years of my life studying and respecting Spanish language and culture. Also, my flatmate happens to be 25% Spanish and he gave me permission to make this video, so suck on that. Yes, it turns out that I am one of the 437 million people worldwide cursed with the knowledge of the Spanish language. I say cursed because in our great wisdom, we have apparently become the sole target of Shot Studios. For anyone that hasn't heard that name before, Shot Studios represent a bunch of Spanish and Portuguese speaking influencers. Rudy Mancuso and Lele Pons, maybe two of them you recognize. Fortunately, we will not be concentrating on their content today. Instead, I'd like for us to delve into the content of Lele Pons' long-lost Hispanic brother, Juanpa Zurita. Now, some of you may have never seen nor heard of this man before, so let me give you a brief summary. He makes exactly the same content as the other two, if not worse. He also happens to have migrated into the US from a Spanish-speaking country, which very much echoes Lele Pons' own story. Hopefully, he won't be having a book ghostwritten for him anytime soon. Juanpa is from Mexico, and the video that we'll be talking about today very much concentrates on his Latin American audience, so I decided to go out and get us all a little gift. I have a feeling this is going to be a lot bigger than I thought it was. Oh my god. Holy hell. You cannot say that I do not put effort into my videos. Wait, there's 2 parts? Oh my god. The bottom of it just looks a bit like a scrotum. That's about as good as we're going to get it, I think. I'm just going to plop this here. God damn it. There we go. Who says my background isn't colourful? So the video we're going to be analysing today is Juanpa's comedy hit, How to Get a Latina. So this entire video is based on the concept of pulling a Latina by speaking Spanish to her. Not that it's a particularly impressive thing to converse with someone in their primary language. If anything, I call that a common prerequisite to an effective relationship. But I wouldn't have a problem with the concept if it actually made me laugh at least once. The video starts with this obnoxious call to action.
Hey guys, subscribe and turn on the notifications.
Sorry, I thought I was showing you the wrong video there. It's easy to get that horrific detail shot confused with Bill Skarsgård's audition tape for It. Making possibly the most paedophilic face you can whilst asking people to subscribe isn't a particularly wise move. Or should I say penny-wise? Although please do take his advice and smack my bell. I love a cheeky bit of cock and bull torture here and there. Now the video begins with a real dilemma. All this man wants to do is hold hands with this girl, but his attempts at doing so are futile because of his lack of knowledge of the Spanish language.
I'm trying to ask out this Latina, but the only 2 words I know in Spanish is azul and biblioteca.
It's somewhat ironic that one of the words he does know is biblioteca or library, a place where no one in Shot Studios has ever been. The word azul or blue, however, is far more relevant, as this man's lack of linguistic ability is making his balls bluer than the Cookie Monster. Nom nom nom, me want Latina pussy. The man of the hour, Juanpa Zurita, or as I like to call him, Juanpa! He cools down his moronic counterpart, reassuring him that his poor Spanish will not hinder him in his quest for clunge. That is, however, until they leave the room.
Dios mío. What? Huh? What does that mean? What did you say? I said you're gonna be great.
For all monolinguists out there, this joke is particularly hilarious. So Juanpa had previously said that his friend's level of Spanish is adequate, but then when they're leaving, he says Dios mío, which means the opposite. Now, it's a highbrow level of comedy, as not everyone knows what Dios mío means. So basically, because his friend doesn't understand Spanish that well, he says it knowing that it'll go over his friend's head. See, you're starting to get it now. But if you didn't get the joke, he makes sure to repeat it in English.
Azul. Yeah.
God, what a knee slapper. Oh, yeah. Now, not all scenes in comedy videos are intended to make people laugh. Take earlier in this video, for example, when I blew up this inflatable cactus. If you laughed at that, then I'm afraid to say that you're probably having a stroke. But the narrative of the story doesn't even make sense. The horny friend only has one good idea during this sketch, and it's just completely ignored. He says that perhaps Juanpa should just message the girl on his behalf, to which Juanpa replies with possibly the worst idea possible.
Give a man a fish, he's gonna eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he's gonna eat for a lifetime. Are you willing to learn?
Learn Spanish? You know how long it takes to learn Spanish. I do. I'm well aware of how long it takes. Are you really going to sit this man down for weekly grammar lessons just so he can speak to someone who already knows English? It's almost as if someone's ethnicity or primary language isn't their entire personality. Regardless, the Spanish lesson ensues. It begins with the friend throwing his notebook behind him merely to get out a bigger one. Where is the comedy in that? Hey, look, it's a regular notepad, but get rid of that and I've got a bigger one. I was hiding it down my pants. Who are you making this content for? Are you making it just so people like me will make a video about it, commenting on how moronic it is. This one video is giving me a brain tumor the size of a baseball. The friend then attempts one of the cornerstones you require to correctly speak the Spanish language, the rolling of the R. Luckily, I'm fairly familiar with the concept of rolls. I currently have about 7, but let's see how he gets on.
Can you roll your R? Your tongue? Put it up.
I feel like he's perhaps mentally distracted by the prospect of motorboating a Latina. Or he's just completely inept at taking basic instructions. Shot Studios essentially showcase what it would be like to give intensive Spanish lessons to someone with extreme learning disabilities. It's funny because he's stupid. Now, it's incredibly hard to roll your R's unless you're a native Spanish speaker, especially if you're English. Don't worry, I know your pain. But Spanish people do not expect learners to know how to do it. You'd think that you'd start someone's lessons with basic conversational skills. Something like, how are you, for example? A question I feel like I haven't been asked in months. But that's just not funny, is it? Not particularly side-splitting. What is, however, is gargling water. Hilarious.
Try making some like mouth exercises.
Hold on, I'm gonna try this myself. This is absolutely hysterical. Am I funny yet? Can you give me my job now? Can someone please validate my life choices? The lesson then takes a more realistic route. The teacher asks a student to spell out a word which he's already spelled out on the board.
Can you spell this?
As I've mentioned, the student is inept at taking basic instructions, so he just reads out the word instead.
Can you spell this?
Queso rider.
Okay, you can all stop laughing for a minute. I feel like after analysing this prized piece of comedic genius, you may actually all ruffle. Now, to the monolingual ear, the student has just spouted gibberish. Now, I'm not denying that this isn't extremely amusing. It's a hoot, obviously. But any Spanish speakers out there who are all probably still laughing, by the way, they'll be fully aware that the student wasn't actually chatting a load of rubbish. Instead of quiero, which means I love you, he says queso, which means cheese. Oh, you can all laugh now. Look how much fun we're having. Don't you all just love comedy? If I could describe this sketch as a cheese, it would probably be goat's cheese. No one asked for it to be made, and it leaves a distinct yet deplorable taste in the mouth. In fact, if this video was a cheese, then I'd be violently lactose intolerant.
Quiero
Queso.
Señorita.
Senator.
No.
Mi caso es tu casos.
I feel like I'm repeating myself here, but there's nothing funny about being stupid. It's a genuine condition that Lele Pons suffers from on a daily basis. The ridiculous idea that Juanpa's character has next is still arguably better than attempting to teach someone an entire language. They basically stalk her. Perfectly normal, relatable behaviour. Most tales of true love begin with creepily following someone whilst they're going on their 6 a.m. run. I say most because God knows I'd rather be the victim of an acid attack than actually leave my chair. The characters have this incredible idea of the friend using an earpiece so that Juanpa can tell him exactly what to say. Let's completely ignore the fact that if it did actually work the first time, then he'd have to continue doing it over and over and over again, perhaps also during sex. To be fair, for people like me, intercourse interpretation is probably the closest to sexual activity we can get. Obviously, I'm not just sat here trying to discredit the narrative of this story. Sketches don't really need to be realistic, but there is one important thing, one key little fact. Videos that are in the comedy genre should probably be funny, and this one just isn't.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Ara?
Sí.
Sí.
¿No sabía que hablabas español?
Sí. Y me encanta correr también.
Ah, the old hiding in the bin gag. That's a classic. I really wish I could take Juanpa Zurita's entire channel and just slip it in there, Let some hungry rats feast on it. Juanpa then proceeds to give incredibly basic Spanish phrases to his friend from a multitude of epically funny locations. Look, guys, he's in a play park. I wish someone would take a fistful of that sand and just blind me with it. Please demolish at least one of my basic senses. And beyond that, the conversation is just the most unnatural thing I've ever heard.
¿Cómo estás, Sara?
Bien, pero no mejor que tú.
Bien, pero no mejor que tú.
Eres rápido con tus chistes.
How the hell was that a joke? I feel like I may be asking the wrong people there, actually. Also, just the concept of replying to the question, how are you, with not as good as you? How dare you undermine just how cripplingly depressed I am? Juanpa's advice to his friend is to then tell Lele that he loves her. It's almost unintentionally funny.
Te quiero.
Te quiero.
How did he know that he was supposed to go in for a kiss there? From his perspective, he supposedly has no idea what he just said. He may have just called her an obese, scrotum-faced prostitute. How would he know to go in for a kiss? And to quell any further suffering, I'm just going to summarize the end of the story. Juanpa comes across a dog which then attacks him. He starts spouting insults at the dog, which his friend then repeats to Lele. He receives the slap of the century. Incredible filmmaking here, by the way. I hope you're all making concise notes. And then around 15 seconds later, Lele has fallen in love with some other random Hispanic man. The moral of the story is, well, I don't know. That Latina women get passed around more than a zoot at a 16-year-old's birthday party? What am I supposed to think here? Now, in fairness to Juanpa, he does in fact reply to a couple of comments here and there, and he hearts a few of them as well. One of the comments that he hearted really embodies his audience, in my opinion. Who else clicked the noti fast AF, boy? I am sousing to everyone that likes this, and souse to me. Imagine unironically spelling words like this. Hold on, let me rephrase that. Imagine being in preschool. It does somewhat make sense now why all of the characters in these sketches are always so stupid. It's essentially like having a 5-year-old's brain and a 25-year-old's body. To end this video, I do want to confirm that no, Juanpa Zurita and Lele Pons are not siblings. If I tricked you, I am sorry, but also you did watch to the end of the video, so you should probably subscribe. And also, please don't now call me out for my awful attempts at comedy over on @JamesMarriott on TikTok. I'm having a midlife crisis and this is no laughing matter. But if you have enjoyed today's video, then please leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new or have not done so already, and I will catch you next time.